Hello there YouTube, my name's Callum and this is my channel CGS Reptiles and Aquatics. As always, if you'd like to hit the like button just below, and any comments or helpful hints would be greatly appreciated. And also if you'd like to subscribe, I'm going to try and continue to produce videos as often as I can. And today on my channel I'd like to talk about my little girl here, Maisie. If you'd like to say hi, Maisie. She's a beautiful, wonderful little animal called a crested gecko. As you can see, beautiful animals. They get the name from the crest. If you can see, just around the head here, the little line of spikes which goes all the way down the back, all the way down to the tail. And that's why they get the name crested geckos. Now these guys come from a place called New Caledonia, which I believe is still part of America, like the lower tropical side. And they come from forests and things over there, so quite damp conditions, high humidity, and but it's mid-level temperatures, so you can get away with keeping them in room temperature conditions, so around 28 to 36 degrees. The species very widely known, but up until I believe it was the early 2000s, there was actually believed to be an extinct species. A group of researchers was on an expedition in New Caledonia, and one of them actually dropped unexpectedly into their camp, and they decided to take it back to where there was researching them. Where are you going, Gal? Cheeky little monkey. Oh, she's having a climb up there. And she'll just sit up there on my shoulder where she feels safe and high up. And she'll be fine. And they found that gecko there. And they took it back to their research facility and started studying it and managed to find some more, and figured out that these species wasn't actually extinct. And they love nice environments, heavily planted, a lot of places to hide. They do like to hide during the day because they are a nocturnal species. And come here, monkey, no one can see you. They are a nocturnal species. Oh, you're a little shy of the camera, darling. They are a nocturnal species, which means they will sleep and rest a lot during the day. Go here, look. They will sleep and rest a lot during the day. And Maisie likes to hide out in these little leaf areas up here, just resting and sleeping in the humidity. And during the night, that's when they're most active. But a common misconception with nocturnal species like crested geckos is people think that because they're more active at night, they don't really need any lighting. They just need heat. But as you can see, I've got both of my vivariums with crested geckos, and they have lights on. That's because even though they do most of their like hunting and activity during the night, when it's dark, they will still stick a hand out or the foot or maybe the tail or anything like that and do a little bit of basking underneath the light. So that's why you still need the UVB, because the UVB is still quite beneficial to them. And on this vivarium over this side, I've opted for the UVB, and then on the back of the vivarium, where are you going, monkey? On the back of the vivarium, I have a heat mat with a Habitat, just monitoring that temperature, just to keep the temperatures nice and warm. Obviously, it's a bit warmer in the UK at the minute, excuse me, so the temperatures will be a lot higher, so the Habitat won't be kicking on as much, but it'll still kick on now and again during the night, just to keep her nice and warm and comfortable. Now, as for diet and things like that, they do like quite a varied diet. My little girl Maisie, she is a bit picky when it comes to things like that, like She'll only really eat crickets. I've tried her on locusts, small locusts. She's not really interested, but other crested geckos will pretty much eat anything, from what I've found. But some people believe that you can just feed them on the crested gecko diet, the Pangea and the Repeshi, and I think there's some other brands as well. Where are you going? Oh, she's having a little climb. Some other brands as well, which people like to feed. And people believe that you can just feed them on that and they'll be perfectly happy. Which I suppose in some instances that could be true, but for enrichment and to just overall give the animals a better life, I feed them try to feed, well, little miss don't like to, but I like to try and feed them a varied diet of doobie roaches, small doobie roaches, small locusts, and small to medium crickets. As always, I do use the Repeshi calcium powder, and occasionally I will use the vitamins and things like that as well. And also, if you are feeding live foods, make sure you don't just feed them straight from the shop, because most of the time they're kept in not great conditions. They're still healthy, but they're not really great to just straight chuck in for the animals. What you should do is what you call gut load them, which is you can use the like pre-made powdered, like granulated stuff, which sometimes delete, but you can use them. I prefer to use like vegetables like tomato, cucumber, a little bit of lettuce, maybe some strawberries in there, chop it up into real small chunks and put it in for the crickets or the locusts or whatever to eat. That'll load the bellies up, so you're not just feeding them so you're not just feeding your crested geckos a shell of a bit of an insect. They're actually getting all the minerals and vitamins and everything like that from the food that the insects have been eating as well. Hiding up there, and that just gives them a bit more of a diversity in the diet and just a bit more enrichment of life, really. Like I say, most crested geckos will eat pretty much anything you throw at them. Obviously don't throw the insects at them, but yeah, they will just pretty much eat any insects that you can throw at them, and they do enjoy I find some of the cheaper powdered diets, like I said, my girl is a little bit picky, but some of the cheaper crested gecko diets they're not too keen on, and they do have like strange things. Like I had one before from a cheap pet shop when I first started keeping them, and I noticed after like one day there was quite a lot of mold growing in it, which I wasn't very happy with, so I decided to throw that one away and go for the Pangea, which seems to be a lot better diet. And I also feed a Repeshi, which I've got at the minute because I'm out of the Pangea. Repeshi, she loves that. She'll just gobble it away, and you just mix that with a little bit of water in like a cup or a tub. I do it in like a little sauce squeezy bottle and do like a batch for the week. You can keep it up to about 7 days refrigerated, and it should be okay. Obviously check it, make sure there's nothing growing in it or anything, make sure it's all fully sealed so nothing can get in there, any bugs or microbes or anything. And get back here, monkey. What she tells you then. And yeah, you can mix that with a little bit of water. You just want to keep adding little bits of water. I tend to use my spray bottle, spray it in, shake it up, spray it and shake it up, so you get like a tomato sauce consistency. Be a little bit waterier than that sometimes, it depends really. And then you can just squirt that into the little tubs with a little bit of fresh water in another tub for them, because they do, when you miss, they do drink the water droplets and things like that to get hydrated. But if the tank's ever a bit warm, they will occasionally drink from the bowl as well. Not that often, they tend to just lick it off the glass really. But yeah, they love nice humid environment, about maybe 60 to 70% humidity, and I keep mine at about 28 to 30 degrees, and both of them seem very happy with that. Like I say, I have the bioactive substrate, which is a mixture of cocoa fibre, orchid bark. Oh, she's off again. Cocoa fibre, orchid bark, a little bit of sphagnum moss, and some worm castings in there, which is just like a worm fertilizer, like worm poop, really. And then I have the springtails, just the common white springtails, and some common black, dark coloured isopods in there, and they keep on top of the bioload and everything like that. So any poop, any mould, any rubbish that's building up in the tank, they'll get rid of that and deal with that. And what back to the feeding, she gets fed the Crested gecko diet every day to every other day, depending on how much she's eating. You can see in a little bowl that she has. Oh, she's jumping. You can see in a little bowl that she has that if she's eating it or not. Some days, some mornings I'll come in because I feed them on the night when they're more active. Some mornings I'll come in and she'll have absolutely ravaged it and there'll be nothing left in the bowl. And other mornings she'll have just picked it out a little bit. So in that instance, I will leave that for the full day, and then maybe only change it out the next day, depending on what it's looking like, if there's anything growing in it, if it's going a bit funny or anything. But all depends on how much they're eating, how much I'll feed. Like I say, I'll feed them every day to every other day, and then a couple of times a week they'll get crickets, and the other one will get locusts as well, and sometimes occasionally small doobie roaches, and they'll just gobble them straight up. Just to make sure they are, oh, that tickles down. Just to make sure they are eating, I do tend to sometimes put them in a secondary small insect tub, just to make sure they are eating. And then that's it really. Like I say, from New Caledonia, great little first pet, lovely animals. This boy over here is not as handleable, but that's because I haven't had him for as long as Maisie. And yeah, they love herding during the day, very active during the night. I'd love to set up some cameras and catch the comical goings on, because I dare say it will be quite fun and entertaining. But like I say, great little first pet if you wanted to get into reptiles or anything like that. And I'm hopefully going to be breeding these guys in the coming year or so. Before anyone jumps on that, it's not for profit, it's purely for my hobby. Just the next step I feel in my hobby. I've kept geckos for quite a few years, and it's just the next step in my hobby really. Breeding wise, if anyone would like me to go into further detail in that, please leave that in the comments and I will do a breeding video on crested geckos. But basic breeding, you just need to make sure they're happy and healthy, of the right size and the right age, and you can breed them fairly easily. You will get quite a few eggs. If you're a first time breeder, occasionally you can have infertile eggs, but that's just something you're gonna have to deal with. But like I say, quite easy, happy and healthy, and yeah, love little animals. Thank you for watching.